Hi guys, I'm John Schaefer, F4, class of 1974, and grew up in Buffalo, New York.
And at the academy, and from then going forward, you can cover the whole 40 some years. What were you famous for? What have you done?
Well, at the academy, I think back then we really had, F4 had a very strong intramural teams, and a group of us tried to stay on the same teams. And we were on brigade championships in basketball, and we had a terrific volleyball team. And it really helped unify us. Now, if you say that to some other guy that went to a regular college, they'd go, well, big deal. But at West Point, intramurals was huge. I mean, and to get to those levels in the playoffs, everybody's an athlete. So, we talk about it in our company and that was a fun time, and I think a nice accomplishment.
Okay. How has your life changed over the years since graduation?
Pretty big roller coaster. Got married in 1977 in the blizzard of 77 in Buffalo, New York. Supposed to be a military wedding, and none of the groomsmen could come in because of the terrible weather. And as far as the service went, F4, and then right into FA, field artillery, for a few years. And then the Army sent me to law school. So the first semester of law school, got married, and then 3 years of law school, and then into the JAG Corps for a total of 13 years active duty. In that time frame, we have 4 children, 2 adopted, 3 girls and a boy, and bounced around, had a chance to come back and teach at West Point, did Leonard Wood, JAG school things, and last assignment on active duty was at MacDill Air Force Base in CENTCOM. Fortunately, was able to stay in the reserves. I was very blessed to be able to stay in the reserves at the Special Operations Command JAG office right there at MacDill for another 13 years in the reserve. So 26 total. Didn't have to travel anywhere. It was just a great assignment, and saw a number of our classmates and other West Point JAGs that I knew throughout the years. So just a terrific assignment. So while in the reserves there, was in private practice in Clearwater, Florida during that time, 13 years, and then appointed by Governor Jeb Bush to the circuit court bench here in Clearwater as a judge, and 18 years of that. Loved all the different assignments there, and then retired just about 3 years ago.
Okay. Wow, that sounds nice. So the reason we're doing this is because it's a testimony. So what brought you to faith in Jesus Christ?
I would say the foundation first from my parents. I was a cradle Catholic, and they raised us strong in the faith, altar boy with my brothers, and in the whole 9 yards. And so that was the bedrock right there, was my parents emphasizing the importance of the faith. And then it went from there. And I was laughing, thinking about it the other day of how I tried to get the daily mass at West Point, particularly plebe year, because you could go to mass at the Catholic chapel and come back late to breakfast, and most of the people were gone, so you never got harassed for breakfast, at least.
That's good. So in that walk, have there ever been any rough spots that you would talk through or explain how you got through?
Yeah, I would say the roughest spot was, for me personally, was actually when I was teaching at West Point, teaching in the law department. My son is handicapped. He's mentally handicapped. And at that stage, he's about 7 years old. We're living on Benedict Road. And he's having all kind of problems, anger issues. And he couldn't articulate things. So he would get angry a lot. For example, you'd bring a toy home, and he would tear it apart, throw it at you, and just pure anger. And so, we're taking him to the doctors there at West Point, and they're taking him to Walter Reed, and there's no answers. And it's getting to the point where, wow, what am I going to do? And then we had this terrible night. It was a winter night, and he was destroying his room. He was breaking the windows. It was like a scene out of The Exorcist. I walked in, and he had urinated all over the place, feces all over the place. It was freezing cold with the broken windows. And he had just beat up my wife, tried to, you know, at 7. But I'm like sitting there. I just sat in the room for a minute outside, and I said to God, I go, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Our whole focus is on this angry young adopted child. We thought we did this beautiful thing. And what am I going to do? I got to protect my family. You know, I was supposed to go to Germany next. And then I had this, you know, so we've been working on that for like a year. What are we going to do? But this was like the culmination. And I had this great peace come over me that it was like surrender. Just surrender him to me and everything will be okay.
Yeah.
So it was just a peaceful feeling at that point. Of course, it was a lot of things happened after that, but I knew God was in charge and he'd make things right. And he did.
So how's that child doing now?
Super. He's the most loving child in the whole family. He went to a group home here. It's one of the reasons I got out of the service, because we needed to find a place for him with family around here. So he's 41. He's been in a group home here in the area since 13, different ones as they consolidate and move along. And he's just doing terrific. I mean, he's mentally about 8. He loves his wrestling, man, and can't tie his shoes, but he knows all the Chicago Bulls players that played with Michael Jordan and all the wrestlers. So he's doing good and miraculously did okay during COVID.
Oh, that's great. That's good to hear.
Yeah, what a blessing. He's the most loving family member of all. He's memorized everybody's birthday and talks about everybody. And yeah, you can never predict what's going to happen in your life at all.
Yeah.
But the Lord's hand was in all of this.
Excellent. Now, this next question is: have you ever felt yourself sort of plateauing in your spiritual walk?
I think we all do at times. I mean, it's there's dryness that sets in. There's some consolation that helps, but sometimes there's some desolation, depending on what's going on in your life and how you're doing with your prayer time and the things that are happening to you and to your family. And so, yeah, there's been dry times. And I think the things that kind of helped me engage with that to get over that was, you know, maybe picking out a different spiritual author I hadn't read about before, but primarily doing something for somebody else, to get out of myself, to get out of my own head.
Oh, yeah.
And doing something for somebody else. And that helps a lot. We should be doing that.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good way to do that. Where would you say you are now spiritually?
Well, right before I retired from the court system, I was in the diaconate program for the Catholic Church. So I became a deacon in the Catholic Church, which has been tremendous. Got a beautiful parish near here, and assisting with the priests and the different ministries. So in a good spot with the challenges that we all face in dealing with those that are marginalized and those not, that whoever comes across our walk. And, you know, there's a lot of West Point in being a deacon because you're really a servant. I mean, you're working for somebody else. We work for the Army. You're in a leadership role to an extent, but we're all servants.
Yes. Good. So speaking to our classmates, what advice would you give them now?
I would say that you want to make sure that you're as close as you can be to the Lord and your family. We're still leaders. The grandkids are looking at us. Our kids are still looking at us. And we're in leadership positions, but it's not about what we've done. It's about who we are. And you want to be close to the Lord. That's the only way you can really walk this journey. He wants to walk it with us and be a part of our daily life. So that's what I'd say. And if there's a struggle there, reach out to somebody you trust, or any of the leaders here of the prayer group, and they'll get you in the right direction to, if you're totally unfocused or not sure where to even begin. But that's it. Jesus wants to walk with us.
Right. Oh, that's a great answer. So we're doing this with each one of these interviews. We're picking a particular verse from a gospel presentation, and you've picked a really good one. You picked Revelations 3:20. And I'll go ahead and recite it. If you want to repeat it, please do. But comment on that, what this verse means to you. Revelation 3:20 says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Whoever lets me in, I will dine with him and he with me."
I love that scripture passage there. And I'm not going to get into the theological part of who's saying what to whom and what context, but that's kind of feeds into my last response, which is the Lord wants a relationship with us. Our Messiah wants a relationship with us, to dine with us, to be with us in good times and bad. But he's knocking. We have to open the door. He's not going to smash it down. He's not going to come barreling through there. So we've got free will, and we're the ones that got to open that door up and allow him in to our lives, and that he's a big part of who we are and what we're doing all the time. And so that he's in our home and in our being and walking with us. So that's why I like that. I used that pre-COVID. My wife and I used to go to, I wouldn't call it a halfway house because it was worse than that, but we're a lot of prisoners who were just recently released, didn't have anywhere to go. And they had prayer services, and a lot of them really searching, but that was meaningful to them, and they talk about it. And yeah, time to open up the door.
Well, this has been excellent. Thanks, John. We appreciate it. Do you have any parting shots before I turn off the recording?
No, thanks for doing this, Bill. It's a great idea. And I forgot how I heard about the prayer chain originally. But anyway, that's terrific, and inviting the widows in and the spouses, and it's just it's uplifting. It's important. You can see how important it's getting better each day with the prayer requests.
Yeah,
it's powerful.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to stop.